And welcome in, Shovingers. I am Corey.
And I am Austin.
We've been kind of off for a little bit with our show. We did our jersey giveaway last week, I believe Tuesday. No, it was
Yes, a week or two ago.
one of those days. Congratulations again to Matt, who won the jersey. Unboxed it during our AFC War Room, AFC West War Room, and it was a Tyreek Hill jersey, so at least it was a good one.
Yeah, Dolphins Tyreek Hill jersey. Would have been a lot cooler if it would have came back as a Chiefs one. Just him being a Broncos fan and opening it on the AFC West War Room would have been kind of cool, but at least our fears didn't happen. But being like a Blaine Gabbert or a Brody Broyle type signed autograph jerseys, so it was at least a well-known, established player, and appreciate that him and everyone else was able to tune in and join and take part in that with us.
Yeah. So again, it's been a little bit since we've actually done like an episode of Shovick Sports. That's something we want to get back to doing. This War Room's kind of taken off to where we've been, really excited with where the War Room is going. It's been behind the scenes work, getting, game plans ready, reaching out to people, trying to bring them on. We have a huge guest the next 2 weeks. We have Meg coming on tomorrow, and then Deb coming on next week. We thought we had one. We really thought we had one. I'm not going to say who, because just in case it's still maybe out there. So we'll save that one. I think with where the War Room's going, yes, our attention's been on that, but we also don't want to forget that we still want to talk our sports, the Royals, Cubs. And right now, we won't talk too much about what the Chiefs and Broncos are doing. We'll save that stuff for the War Room and that show. So let's dive in real quick. Some big news this week was finally don't have to hear about goddamn Aaron Rodgers anymore.
We'll still hear something. We'll hear something. The Aaron Rodgers saga, whatever. It's been here and it hasn't disappeared for a few years now. But best case scenario is he's in a functioning organization now, like the Steelers. And I mean, whether you like Rodgers or not, yo, what's good, Pitch Grid Pod? But appreciate you hopping in here with us. But truth be told, if you like him or not, Aaron Rodgers has actually still played pretty decent the last couple of years. Like if you can look through all the noise and the political crap and whatnot, he's a better quarterback than what the Steelers have rolled out for a while.
Yes.
So it is good for them. I hope they can mesh. I hope, for football's sake, I hope it just meshes and goes well and doesn't blow up in their face. But yeah, hopefully we get at least one full clean season. Aaron Rodgers drama-free, just because he's in an organization like Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin and company now. So I hope you're right that we don't have to hear about daggum Aaron Rodgers, but I hold my breath on something like that anymore.
Yeah, Pitch Grid Pod over here. It's good to see y'all streaming. We appreciate you being on here. Thanks for sharing kind of our stuff, not just our stuff, but the War Room stuff as well. You started that trend amongst the little group of doing the NFL career on TikTok. I even had 2 of those that I posted. First career was not good. The second career, I won 4 Super Bowls, but it was an average career. And I still didn't make the Hall of Fame, which I questioned. But again, thank you again for joining us. And thank you again for sharing all of our stuff. We really, truly do appreciate that. And that's partially the reason why we do the shows and why we post our content, is for people to share and enjoy it. Because again, if you tune into the War Room, you never know what the guy to this side over here is going to say. Cody just posted a reel of my brother. So go check that out on our Instagram page about what my brother said about LT. Hopefully LT watches it and says, what the actual hell? And, it's something. It's different. So again, that's why you tune in. You never know what's going to be said. Any regrets on that?
No, man. You've known me my whole life, obviously being my sibling and whatnot. I can kind of run off at the mouth sometime, but I just want to say that in case people cut it off too soon, I rebounded and let it know that I was joking and gave LT the love he deserves. But sometimes it's worth it to just see everyone's reaction, but more specifically Timmy with Answer the Call. Obviously, go find him, like him, and follow. But yeah, no, it's good to see the reaction. So no regrets ever.
Well, oh, can't wait to see that one.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it. So what have we been up to? We went on Timmy's show with him and Pigskin Frenzy, Joel from Pigskin Frenzy. We did a college football episode. That one was interesting, and I feel like there were parts of that show, and Timmy did an outstanding job hosting that one. So Timmy, nice job hosting that college football episode that we did with you and Joel. But there was conversations in that episode that could have probably went on and on and on and on.
I feel like every topic we covered, we really could have had just hours of conversation with about, right? Just back and forth, especially when you start bringing in people's, combos, right? Especially in the college. NFL, it's a little different. You really have like 32 teams to choose from. But I mean, you're looking at colleges and you just have hundreds of teams to choose from and just all the different opinions. And then NIL is its whole, honestly, that could just be a nightly 5-hour episode and you'd never run out of things to say. So, yeah, it was good. It was good conversation, good topics, and it definitely could have went on till now still.
Yeah, no, and we do hope to be back in an episode with both those guys as we get closer to college football season, just because there is so much more to talk about as far as once the summer camps begin and where those are going. We've seen some predictions for KU, 8-4, the 8-4 range, which we would be ecstatic about. I still think right now I am leaning towards the over on the 8. Not confident in that yet. I need to see the depth chart. I need to see the health of obviously Jaden Daniels, but I absolutely love, and you and I have had conversations about the defense for KU off the air. So let's bring that in real quick. The new defensive coordinator is bringing in a multiple style scheme, which in the Big 12, it doesn't hurt to have that, right? You go up against so many different styles in the Big 12, whether it's the K-State who does the zone, they still do truly run the football, even since Bill Snyder's left. But then you have other teams that'll do the air out. Texas Tech might actually end up winning the Big 12 this year, just looking at what they've done. But again, with the multiple style scheme, you obviously love the defense. Your initial thoughts when you heard KU and their new defense coordinator wasn't just going to limit himself to a base 3-4, a base 4-3, but we're going to run different styles of defense.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan of that. You can kind of use K-State as an example. They're kind of always in that 3-3-5, but it's different every time, right? Some linebackers coming in, some D-line dropping out, secondary players coming in. So it's the same base, but it's still multiple, and it's incredibly tough to run against. So with KU over the years, it was very easy to know what we're doing. We're only rushing the 4-down linemen. Usually our outside corners are going to lock up, and then our safeties kind of one center fielder, one come down to the middle of the field. It was kind of easy to know how to game plan against it, right? KU's still not at the point where we're getting an incredibly large amount of talent. So when you lack the talent, top-tier talent, coaching matters. And a big part of the coaching is the schemes. I think it was a few years back, our D coordinator missed one game, and the fill-in play caller was aggressive, and we looked incredible. But it was still the same players that had looked bad in every other game. So it's huge. It's going to be harder to game plan against. It's going to create more opportunities. Hopefully it gets the defense off the field, creates more turnovers. And in the end, in the Big 12, that can be what kind of separates you from the other teams, is if you have the defense.
Yeah, that is
Yep.
that is a good 5-star that they got as well. KU was in the running for that one. If you're talking about the tight end, Cure, his brother is actually at KU, so they thought maybe that would kind of swing KU's way. But obviously, in the end, it was K-State, and that is a huge pickup for K-State. And I think what I like about that is KU and KU's catching up. You know, the margin's smaller. We won't say catching up, but the margin's smaller now for KU getting the in-state Kansas kids. You know, we were able to go to Manhattan and get, I think he was a 3-star, bumped up to a 4-star. And now there's talks that, you know, he has a good senior season in high school that he could bump up to 5-star as well. And he stayed committed to KU. He's had other teams reaching out to him, but he's continuously told them, I'm staying here. I'm staying here. And what's awesome and unique to see is now you have these Kansas kids who are committing to KU, but now they're recruiting the other Kansas kids to come to KU. You know, we had a kid from Ottawa. There's a kid, you know, Kansas City area, you know, so it's margins smaller.
Yeah. And pitch grid, I mean, incremental. Yeah, that was part of the Bama receiver was part of my
And the corner
combo, but it is incremental, like he said. But just to think Leipold, the coaches weren't even trying to get the in-state kids because it was a no-brainer for in-state kids. My choice is KU, K-State. Okay, thanks for calling KU, but like it's obvious K-State
or Oklahoma State.
Yeah, or one of the surrounding states. So even though it is incremental, you can't just flip it overnight, right? You have to do as you said, pitch grid pod, make the incremental like progress. And it sounds weird, but getting in-state kids, that's really what separated one of the things that separated K-State from KU for a long time is you got those Kansas kids. And I've mentioned it on shows before. That's part of what makes some of these programs special is you get those in-state kids who would die before taking off or wearing another jersey. And that's huge for some of these teams, especially to set yourself apart from some of these other schools who aren't continuously getting these 5-stars. So even incremental progress is huge. It's a start, and it's something we haven't seen and it's not jokingly, we haven't seen it for decades at KU. So it is huge and incremental.
And you're absolutely right on this one. We were a little too late to the party as far as that goes with Cure. Literally right after he committed to K-State, we started getting the other KU commits. And then I think there was an unofficial visit that he took this last season. I don't remember which game it was at Arrowhead, but it was an unofficial visit. He was obviously there to watch his brother who's on the team, but it's still, you know, it turned heads. I wasn't one of those. I didn't think for a minute we'd be stupid to say that they weren't trying, right? They're always trying, even though he's committed. That's just where college football is. They're still trying. They're probably still trying now as far as that goes. But yeah, it was just a little too late at that point. And I do like his prospect. He's a good size. He's a multiple sport athlete in high school, you know, and I think that's a big body target for Avery Johnson to, you know, continue to kind of build what K-State's doing. And I do joke about it all the time about K-State. K-State's going to be just fine. Avery Johnson's going to be just fine. K-State's always going to be, you know, every time you think they're out, they're not, right? They always kind of pop in. They kind of just, they linger. You know, they just couldn't quite get over the hump when they had Will Howard. And I do think that Will Howard's numbers completely changed when he went to Ohio State. Most are going to. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where your numbers are going to inflate when you go to Ohio State and you have the receiving core that they have. K-State has good receivers. They don't have Ohio State receivers. And that's not a knock. That's just the reality, and that's just the truth. That doesn't mean they're bad. Avery Johnson's going to be just fine. K-State's going to be just fine. I don't see KU or K-State, either one of those, winning the Big 12. I'm leaning towards Texas Tech just based on the transfers that they're pulling in. They're getting Patrick Mahomes money now as far as donations. That never hurts. So again, Colin Klein should, yeah, I do agree. He was fun to watch. He was also very annoying to watch. just because you knew what was going to happen, you knew what he was going to do, and you still couldn't do it. And that was the fun part about watching Bill Snyder's teams, right? Like you knew what they were going to do. He didn't adjust to the Big 12.
I loved and hated Bill Snyder's teams because obviously as a KU fan, I'm obviously not going to root for K-State. But if you just take my fandom out of it, I also loved watching K-State. No stupid penalties, turnover-free football, just play good, clean football. And 99% of the time, you're going to win your game or be in the game to win. And that's really all you can ask for. Honestly, it sounds so simple, but it's not. And that was the genius of Bill Snyder. Because obviously, if it was that simple, every team would be turnover and penalty-free or limited. That just goes to the genius of Bill Snyder. It wasn't just like a 2-year stretch where he did this. That's literally his career. Like when I think of Bill Snyder, I just think of clean football. And it was so annoying to watch. But fandom aside, it was also wonderful to watch because you're about to get at least half of this game is going to be good, clean football.
Well, it was the part of the era of no huddle, air raid. And Bill Snyder just said, nah, I'm going to line up I formation, put Colin Klein back there. Colin Klein's just going to sit there and we're going to do these QB zones. We're going to give the ball off to our running backs. It really was kind of fascinating to watch. And then let's see, 99. It really was. I think if I remember correctly, that was the year they played in the Fiesta Bowl with Michael Bishop and they played Donovan McNabb, I believe. Yeah, dude. Michael Bishop that was kind of the era where I was actually starting to kind of get into college football a little more and watching. And Michael Bishop, honestly, I thought Michael Bishop was going to have a solid NFL career as well. Obviously, it didn't work out that way as Timmy joins. Timmy, hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope Tuesday was treating you well. So let's kind of transition over real quick. The Royals called up Jack Caglione. It started off with a bang against the Cardinals. They should have been a bang, but Victor Scott robbed it, caught up to it. But he's kind of warming up, and that's a good sign. Vinny's warming up. You just still like to see Sal maybe do a little bit more, right? It's not quite there. The pitching staff's been ridiculous. Noah Cameron's going tonight. That's kind of why we're on here now. We're hoping we're going to finish this up here soon because we want to watch the Royals and Yankees because it's a beautiful pitching matchup tonight, which means it's going to be a 10-8 game. That's kind of how it usually works. But initial thoughts on Cags?
Yeah, I mean, if you just look face value, you're like the numbers, what the heck? You're not seeing the pop. You're not seeing the production. And I'd say batting average, but I think anything above like 220 anymore is acceptable in today's game. So I'll leave that one out. But if you actually watch, and he could probably look at a couple more pitches too, but I'm never going to hate someone for being aggressive.
When you're aggressive and you're not swinging and missing, you're aggressive and you're still hitting.
And you're not swinging at pitches in the dirt, fastballs at your eyes. So I'm not going to knock that. But I think his first hit or his first swing or first contact with the ball, it was like 110 off the bat. Like he's still hitting the ball extremely hard. Even in some of his outs, they're going opposite field. So he's not going to be a pull hitter.
Nothing like hitting 2 rockets at Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough luck, right? Most third basemen weren't going to get to one or either of those. So, it's going to be a learning curve. He's not going to come up and immediately be Barry Bonds or Shohei Ohtani or whoever you want to compare him to. But, there's positive signs. He's not just striking out 3 or 4 times a game. He's hitting the ball hard, hitting it the other direction, hitting it gap to gap. The home runs will come. I mean, you don't hit a ball average of like 110 off your bat and just lose it overnight. So I'm excited for him. I'd just be a little patient. You don't just roll out of bed and just become an MLB like all-star hitter, right? So I like it. He looks good defensively. He shown off the arm a couple times in right field. I don't know. I don't want to say the hype isn't real or is real because there's still so much. It's not enough time to really go off of that, but early signs point to me he's at least going to be an MLB quality player.
Yeah, and let's kind of move to the Cubs real quick. Your 99 win prediction's not looking too shabs right now.
Yeah, no, I think when I did the math the other day, they were still on pace for 101 wins.
Yeah, you real quick. You're absolutely
No, I want to say you're right and you're wrong. You're wrong because we don't just need depth; we actually just need like starters too.
These are all bench players outside of Isbell.
Yeah, I agree. The Q hate needs to stop. I agree. But I've never been one to think the manager should be to blame. Like when the Rockies fired their manager, okay, how many managers are going to win more than the 9 games that he did or whatever? And I can't turn less than what I have into something, right? Like I might be able to add a couple wins, but let's be real. What I have to work with is coming from above me.
Yeah.
So you're not going to hear any Q hate from us, but yeah, I think as far as our outfield goes, if Jack's a mainstay, I'm okay with it. I can live with like Isbell and Waters, but I would still prefer one of those be like the backup outfielder, the rotational guy. If both of them are starting, then I think that's where you have issues. But
when I saw they sent Massey to the IL and they called Tolbert up, so Melendez obviously isn't.
Melendez is doing okay in AAA, but I think they're going to give him a lot of time down there.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. Like, not even just to get constant ABs, but like give you time to get your mind right. Baseball's so mental. It's a 162 game grind. And unfortunately for him, it wasn't a very good few years in the majors for him. So, yeah, I think Melendez will get one more crack if he keeps doing okay in the minors, but it'll be a short leash.
Yeah, I mean, it took them a little bit. When they all came up, they struggled as well. And then, it's mental, right?
I think when it came together towards the back half of one of those years and they ended with like 83 wins, and you're like, okay, now we might have a couple years. And they did.
Yeah, and then you go make the moves for James Shields, Wade Davis. Then you start bringing it. Now you can start making moves because you're close, which is why I think they're doing that now.
The big moves of like Cueto and Zobrist.
Yeah.
Spent a little money for – it's a name people probably won't think of if you don't follow the Royals closely, but he was Kendrys Morales. Now I know whatever you want about him, but like Alex Rios was fine with the Royals when he was healthy. Omar Infante blew up, but yeah, it takes time. You're not the Dodgers where you can spend $900 million every postseason to fill some holes until your prospects come up. A lot of times these prospects need 4, 5, 6 years. That's why when players are drafted, you're like, okay, I'm excited, but unless they're a college bat or really close to MLB ready, you're not going to see them for 2, 3, 4 years. So, yeah, it takes time and you have to be patient.
Timmy, my brother, will let you jump on the Cubs bandwagon.
Absolutely.
My brother will get you a W flag. Just fly it high, which they've been doing a lot this year.
They have. They still need pitching. It's nice to watch offense. A lot of runs scored, but the pitching depth is being tested. And oddly enough, I don't remember the dates, but I think since Imanaga went on the IL, the Cubs have the second best bullpen ERA and the 20th ranked starter ERA. So I think they'll be active at the deadline. As long as PCA and Tucker and a few of the other bats stay healthy, there's no reason that we won't. I don't want to say coast. We've seen epic collapses before, especially from Cubs, but it's a good first few months of the season for the Cubs.
Yeah, I mean, we've already hit the 100 or not 100 game mark. We're at the 100 games remaining mark. We came up on that as past for some teams, but again, you predicted 99 wins. It's still kind of on track for that. I think it's going to take a couple active moves from the Cubs that just don't do that often. They have the ammunition for that, or they can get some of these younger guys to kind of step up and Cade Horton's still kind of learning the ropes. Brown, I think it was Brown who went toe-to-toe with Skubal, matched his 7 innings the other night, only gave up, 1 run. That's big. And he was pumping 96, 97, and I told you I don't remember him doing that. And you said, yeah, that's just kind of how he's been. So,
Yeah, I think if they don't, Timmy, growing up, I rooted for the Cubs, love Wrigley Field. Yeah,
dude, we went there a couple years ago, Tim, and it's
Wrigley Field was
worth the trip.
Yeah, dream come true for me. But I think even if the Cubs made no moves, but at the trade deadline they extended Tucker, I think Cubs fans would be happy because you're going to be shocked. But the Cubs, for having the money they do, they've never forked out over $200 million for any single player. Which, if you follow baseball, Kyle Tucker is going to get way more than $200 million from somebody, which would hurt to know that we gave up what we did for a one-year player. But trade deadline for baseball is always one of my favorites. You usually get to see some prospects on the move, which I love prospects across the board, but it's kind of a little holiday over here, the trade deadline for baseball.
It is. And let's kind of transition. We won't spend too much time on this, but we haven't paid too much attention to the NBA Finals, but it looks like the Thunder were back.
Yeah.
Kind of did what they were supposed to do. I still think Pacers have a little bit of a small run in them. I still have the Thunder in 6. Man, I don't know, but this team's just so dominant, But I do like Halliburton back to his Iowa State days. What he was doing there. Any chances that maybe goes 7? Do you think, or do you think the Thunder?
I mean, there's always a chance, right? But I think the Thunder do what a lot of teams don't, and they're actually really good defensively, like really good. So once they were shocked the first game, but they obviously had a really good bounce back. But now I don't want to sit here and say the Pacers won't win another game, but on paper, it's hard for me to think that the Thunder won't just walk away with the remaining series. I think they're also more talented, but they also just play better on both sides of the ball. And you can buy into it or not. I haven't looked at the numbers, but the hype of the Thunder always get the foul calls into the free throw line. They obviously capitalize from there too. So Thunder are really good on paper. So for NBA fans' sake, I hope it is competitive, but
and they need to. They feed off that crowd, and people can say what they want, but there's at any sport, any level, playoff atmospheres, and then you get to the finals. Like even the hockey game last night, or we watched all the hockey games actually. They feed off that, and you think of you're like Indiana and Oklahoma City, you're kind of like, I don't even know where those places are. Like, couldn't have been any, it would have been cool to see the Knicks in this, right? It would have, just based on the history. But at the same time, it's really kind of cool to see, Indiana and Oklahoma City kind of, show out. And I can tell you this, Thunder's not going anywhere. They have so many draft picks still where they can either draft those players or they can package stuff up to get players. So get used to seeing the Thunder kind of in this position because their GM's gotten it right. He's loaded up on picks. They've done everything the correct way. They got SGA in the Paul George trade. He's been obviously an MVP season, still up in the air if he should have gotten it over Jokic. But Jokic is also one of my favorite players. But either way you look at it, it is kind of cool to see Indiana and Oklahoma City. But at the same time, I don't have as much of like a watching interest.
No, and that's not necessarily the team's fault either, right? Like for us, the NBA has kind of just been on a little bit of a downslide since, the kids we watched when we were younger kind of retiring and games changing a little bit. But, you can say what you want about these crowds, but OKC specifically has very much of like a college atmosphere to it.
It's been that way since they first jumped in.
From game one with them. But, I think more basketball and football than anything, like home field matters or home court matters. So hopefully Indiana does show out because they will feed off of it, and that can really help out. But I don't know, Thunder are just too darn talented to me.
Yeah, and I mean that is the guy that we grew up watching. Reggie Miller is awesome at both his, you're not wrong. Small market. I mean, we're Kansas City Royal fans. They're a small market group. I can't really count the Chiefs as a small market. Not really such thing as in the NFL because they have a salary cap and whatnot. And then, it really is truly with sports like this.
Well, there's always that Midwest bias, right? Like if you're not one of those East Coast, West Coast teams, you kind of get overlooked. Now, obviously, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs I don't want to say dominated too much. I'm going to sound like one of those fans. They won enough and have done enough to kind of get some of the love, right? But typically, if you're not an East Coast, West Coast team, there's always that Midwest bias of like, unless you're kind of on the top of the mountain, you're not really going to get any attention nationally. So I think Bobby is a prime example of that, right? Like dominated last year, absolutely dominated. They even made the playoffs and he was the main reason why. But then we were seeing quote unquote expert list coming into the season that would have him as like the third or fourth best shortstop. And I third or fourth best overall player I could get. But anyway, that's just part of the Midwest bias thing. Like you're overlooked unless you dominate. So I hope no matter who wins the NBA series, like with OKC doing their thing, the Chiefs doing their thing, Royals hopefully maintaining competitiveness, and some of those Indiana, Cincinnati area, up in the Midwest, Mid-East. It's always weird to think Midwest, but hopefully some of the teams get a little more love because there's a lot of talent going on right now. Like Anthony Edwards in Minnesota. Like, don't overlook a lot of these players just because they're in the Midwest. Like, there's a lot of greatness going on, and you probably may not see it in the finals just given how much better one team is on paper than the other. But hopefully this finals, LA, Boston is what everyone kind of we want to see that. East Coast, West Coast, but let's start giving some Midwest some love. So I'm with you, Pitch Grid Pod. Like, let's get some of these non-powerhouse coast teams some love and some respect that's deserved.
And, I know Cody and Tim kind of perked up when you said something about the Chiefs. They're like, oh, what's he going to give us? What's he going to give us? Mm-hmm. And then you were kind of like, well, let's kind of tail it off. You'll have to tune in tomorrow to hear.
LT's not even that good.
Oh, there it is. You heard it here for the second time. But again, and then
it is.
It is. It is. And then that's kind of, we watch KU basketball, obviously, and we kind of know the history there. So let's turn our attention real quick. Because like we said earlier, we have been watching the hockey. We've been watching the Stanley Cup finals. I do encourage you guys to go watch 10 minutes of a Stanley Cup playoff game, aka even a Stanley Cup game. I will tell you guys, if you didn't catch the game last night, there was a point in the third period, someone posted a picture of a still shot.
All 10 players.
All 10 players were legitimately fighting one-on-one with each other. It was just a legit fight, and that's what you get in hockey. It amps up. Like, we'll watch regular season games here and there.
I think we've watched 95% of just playoff games.
Yeah.
So regular season hockey is awesome, but there is something about playoff hockey.
Timmy, I got a screenshot I'm going to share with you guys here in a little bit. Don't worry.
Yeah, no. But yeah, playoff hockey is different. Like, if you're just a sports fan in general and you just like the intense atmosphere, any playoff game, any playoff series, tune in for just a little bit, and I promise you're probably going to stay on it because it is absolutely insane. I know you can think it's boring, like they're just chucking the puck back and forth down the ice. It's so much more than that. All the little hits, all the little jabs. What happens is over time and over a series, you end up getting 5 different 1v1s in a fight at the same time. So I don't know. It's so physical. It's intense. It's incredible. I'm so glad that we finally have come around to hockey the last 4 or 5 years because playoff hockey is absolutely legit.
And this one's the blood's kind of boiling a little bit with these two teams.
Yep.
You can go back to last year when they were playing each other, and obviously we know what happened there, the 3-0 lead, all the way back to a Game 7. Well, then the first 2 games go to overtime. Second game goes double overtime. Just absolute, just thriller. Last night, maybe under a minute into the game.
Yeah, I think when we finally got it on, there was 18:02 left in the first period. So we're a minute 58 into the game, and it was already 1-0.
And I think Edmonton was so worried about just fighting them, and then it got to a point where Edmonton did cut the lead down. But then, like 40 seconds later, Florida scored again, and then you could really start seeing Edmonton kind of get, a little heated. They were getting, just a little more frustrated. Well, then it just kind of broke loose there in the third period. You saw Marchand for Florida telling his teammates, "Hey, play smart. This is what they want us to do." Then it just got to a point where you literally, again, I encourage you guys to go. I don't remember who posted it, but it was just a still shot. You see 5 sets, just one-on-one, just full brawl, and it gets to a point where the officials are kind of just like, well, there's only 3 of us out here. What are we going to do? But again, I encourage you guys to go just watch a little bit of it. Just watch a little bit of it, and you'll enjoy it. So last thing, big golf tournament this weekend, U.S. Open. Rory admitted he shot an 81 today in his warm-up.
I told you after he won his career Grand Slam. Well, I may not have told you. I may have told our buddy Paul. So much golf talk that I don't remember who it was with. After he won his career Grand Slam, I said he was going to go in a funk. Yeah, I can't wait to see a few. Yeah, awesome. I see reels getting posted like, here's just Austin at it again. And I'm like, oh, back at it. But yeah, big golf tournament. But after his career Grand Slam, just given Rory in general, I said that he was going to go in a slump. Because let's be honest, winning something like a career Grand Slam, the intensity that he felt round 4 down the stretch of that Masters, and to come away with that win, there was going to be a weight off of his shoulders, a weight that's been there since 2011. So, I mean, we're talking a long time it's been there. He has to be able to refocus and remember what it's like to play with, I don't want to say nothing on the line, but like this is all that's been missing for literally 10, 15 years. I don't want to say he's going to have to relearn how to play golf, but it kind of is because golf is mental. He's going to have to remember what it's like.
He's not going to go out there and hit like we hit Sunday,
Dude, look, I don't know what it is, but waking up at 4:30 a.m. for a round of golf, I don't know why, but it's the best I've ever hit a golf ball. So, but yeah, he's going to have to be able to refocus. So we saw it with this last tournament he was in, missed the cut. It's going to take time. Rory didn't forget how to golf. Give it a few tournaments. It might be this next tournament. Who knows? Rory will be fine, but I knew it was going to take time because that's a weight that's been there for half of his golf career. And to finally have that off, that's just, I know it sounds like it should free him up, but that's not how it works when golf is 99% mental. All 100 dudes playing in a tournament know how to hit a golf ball and do it well. The difference is what you can do mentally and not let it go into how changing your game and all that. So Rory will be fine. As somebody who enjoys golf, I hope it's this week he bounces back. The game is better when Rory's competitive, and then you get to see him meltdown than rather just seeing him miss cuts. But yeah, big time golf tournament. Ben Griffin's obviously going to win. Going to come down to him and Scotty.
No, give me Scotty and DeChambeau Sunday as a pair. I want to see. Bryson typically doesn't do well on Sundays when he's paired with a guy like that. We saw it when he was with Rory, obviously. So give me Scotty and Bryson DeChambeau this weekend, and we'll call it a successful weekend, really. Well, big show tomorrow night. Okay, we already told you we have a guest coming on, Ballers Meg. Go find her on Instagram. We've been posting promos for it. I know Tim, Cody, Matt, ourselves, we're super excited for this. She's joining us from the UK. She's a Falcons fan, so we're excited to kind of get her thoughts on what the Falcons are going to do, what the Falcons have done. Some Falcons news has been coming out about Kirk Cousins, so we're excited to hear her thoughts on some of that, while also kind of giving her thoughts on where the AFC West may shape up and shake out. We have a fan question of the day. I'm super excited to give you guys my question at the beginning of the episode. Again, like I said earlier, we're still working on getting some more people. We got guests coming on the next 2 weeks on the War Room. So we're doing 2 weeks, one this week, next week, and then we're taking a little bit of a break. We all kind of want to regroup, refresh.
Enjoy summer a little bit.
I know those other guys got some family time they need to get in with their families, so it'll be a nice little refresh, and we'll come back strong in July, hopefully with a super special guest that we are hopefully hearing back from, who confirmed or denied coming on our show, but we won't give those away quite yet. But again, super excited for tomorrow. Make sure you guys come find us on YouTube, like, subscribe. Come find us on Instagram. We're at well over 1,100 followers on Instagram now. You guys are fantastic. You guys are awesome. We got to get Timmy and Matt to 1,000. So make sure you go find them. Answer the call. It's COLL, and then OC News 365 with Matt. Go find those guys. Let's get those guys to 1,000. Come find the War Room. Let's get the War Room's followers count up. We have lots of stuff in store for you guys, not only on our show, but on the War Room. And again, we will be live on YouTube tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central. So it's a little earlier than what we usually do the War Room, just because, again, like I said, we have a guest who's joining us from UK. So it's going to be really late over there at her time. So 6 p.m. tomorrow night, YouTube. Timmy, we appreciate you too, buddy. Everything you've done for the War Room, Cody, Matt, you guys.
Yeah, make sure you go follow Drew Code Sports Talk as well for good content. Ballers Meg as well, AFC West War Room. Just a bunch of great content, even better people. Always wonderful to work with. Timmy, wonderful question. We'll save that for tomorrow.
It's 6 p.m., buddy.
Appreciate that. But yeah, make sure you Drew Code Sports Talk, OC News 365, answer the call, COLL.
And go find Pitch Grid Pod. Go find that guy. Go find him. He's been doing some really good TikToks here lately. So make sure you guys go find him as well.
Yeah, and always enjoy his feedback and comments. So glad the Shovingers showed out tonight. Look forward to seeing some of y'all tomorrow for the AFC West War Room as well.
All right, guys. Like I said, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Come find us. If you have any questions for Shovick Sports, the Shovingers, ask us questions. We'll cover those. We'll be back on with another individual show next week. It'll be Tuesday or Thursday. We'll see what the schedules look like. But we'll see you guys then. Have a good night.